Hello and welcome to this new episode of Kerbal Space Program. Today we have a lot of stuff to do, so let's get right into it. So I started off the episode with some contract accepting before going ahead doing our first launch. So this launch was going to be the Launch Escape Pod Test. It's a small rocket designed to fly up to 6,000 meters approximately before enabling its FES, short for Flight Emergency System, testing out our new Launch Escape Pod, which we have researched last episode if you haven't noticed. And as you can see, this test was successful, and we could successfully separate our capsule from the booster that was imitating to have a failure. So in case of an emergency, we can now use a launch escape pod system on crewed launches to save the crew if we have to. And with that test done successfully, we can now move on to the building of the main subject this episode, thus being the Rasmus 2 mission, designed to go to the moon and be its second orbiter in a low orbit. So the notable things I've changed is our solar panels and antennas, which are now better with the newest technology, as well as the antennas being better. So on the 14th of June 1952, it was finally time for the long anticipated launch to help us collect more data about the moon and its surface. Yet upon booster separation, 4 of the engines, as you can see on the next stage, have failed due to the hefty amount of engines that were on there, thus leading to a loss of control and stability at the end. I've tried balancing it by shutting down an engine on the other side, but it just made the case worse, as you can see, so we had to ultimately abort the mission and just let it crash into the ocean. So we could not finish this mission at all, since we had absolutely no chances of recovering back the Delta V that we had lost. Next episode we will definitely be building a new rocket build to launch Resmos missions, because the current design for Resmos missions is way too unreliable with its a lot of engines, which is also cost effective, and since we're in a current time where we have to save a lot of costs, this is of course not ideal. So after that huge unexpected loss of money, I had to get things back up, which is why I went ahead and did 2 Prometheus free missions. And as you could see, the second mission did have a little struggle maintaining its stability due to the heavy amounts of stress being forced onto it, but we were lucky enough to be able to save this. And as you can see on the screen as well right now, it was time for building a final mission for this episode, thus being the spaceplane prototype number 1. This was our first jet-propelled plane that we changed up enough because it needed a lot more precision than just a simple propeller plane, and it had to have absolutely no flaws because it's gonna be obviously crewed as well, this time with Albury Kerman. Initially this was intended to fly a few thousand meters above the surface, but before we could get to that, one of the engines had actually failed. Therefore we had to return back to the KSC to get it checked out. So unfortunately we could not reach our mission goal with this launch itself, but we didn't lose too much costs and only lost a bit of fuel. As you can see, we did end up having a bit of a rough landing, but we did our best to survive it, and we actually did. Incredibly, just 2 days after this incident, the broken engine was replaced with a brand new one, and we could therefore go ahead and reach for our same goal just 2 days after the first launch. While you see the flight, let me list you what's new on this aircraft. So I've replaced the propeller at the front with 2 jet engines on the wings now, and replaced the propeller part with a nose cone, which would increase our aerodynamic and eventually speed as well. And we've, like I said, reinforced the nose cone, and we now have retractable and extractable landing gear, which we have also researched just last episode. And all those changes could get us up to more than 10 kilometers before reaching a maximum height. As you could see, we could get up to about 14 kilometers before we had to ultimately drop down. Yeah, we could still obviously safely return, and yeah, after that, that's it for everything today. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys liked it. So see you guys next episode. Bye bye.